Get up and get out. Get out. Get out.
I have a question for you.
Say Christ is Lord. Say Christ is Lord. Say it. You say Christ is Lord. Get out. Get out. Christ is Lord.
What is good, YouTube? What is up, everybody? Welcome back in to another episode of Offensively Accurate, hosted by yours truly, Atlas Thugged, aka White Boy D Voice, aka another racially ambiguous graper. And we are here for the question of the day, which is the same question as it has been the last week: is will the power chat work, or will I have to fix it right at the beginning of the stream? Welcome in, everybody. Glad to see everybody who's in here. We have I cannot see 40 wide, 40 deep. We have Smelly, we have Rex, we have Hippocratic, and we have Jeff Buckley Disciple. Nice to see you guys in here. Yes, we have a good bit of stuff to get into today. And as the thumbnail and the title says, Not Good Enough by Nick Fuentes. And so a lot to get into, particularly from the phone call, which imagine that after I went streaming, this phone call comes in from, or gets leaked, if you will, between Donald Trump and Netanyahu. And the question was answered immediately. The power chat is not working, as always. So give me a second. I will fix this and switch it over here for you guys in just 1 second. But a lot's happening today. A lot of stuff happening in the UK, obviously in reaction to Henry Nowak, the white man who was unfortunately left to die and bleed out because of the perceived racism, which we did cover a good bit. We covered his body cam footage on the stream on Kick last night. And it was rather gruesome. It was the first time I had seen it. I think it was the first time anybody had seen it for the most part. And there's a lot of photos coming out about this. What we're seeing now too is it looks to be, there's probably one that you guys have seen that's floated around. It looks very high quality. One of which it looks like the police, the female cop, her hand, there's like the nails are coming through it. It does seem to be that there is perhaps a fake upscaled AI photo going around. I saw somebody who's actually posting side-by-side images of some of what the stills from the body cam footage versus the actual AI photo. And so it's not like it's completely incorrect, but I would say, there's probably, people are treating it as a Renaissance painting. I've seen many people have been posting this, but indeed it's an AI upscaled version of it. It doesn't really change much at all. But however, this is going to be another symbol, another shot, another image, another event heard around the world, and more frankly, it's heard around between North America and Great Britain. And so there's riots happening right now in Southampton. We're probably going to start right away just reacting and seeing some of the stuff that's happening on the streets therein. We also have a featured story. The featured story is actually not going to be about the Southampton stuff, although we will be paying attention to it. The featured story today is actually about two things, and that is going to be some of what Nick spoke about last night, and that pertains to the phone call that was reported by Axios, talking about how Donald Trump basically told Netanyahu to his face or through the phone, you're the reason, this is why everyone hates Israel. Very spicy, but I think that it's intentional, and we're going to get into it. And we're also going to bring up Marissa Street as well. She's actually in the news as well, too, although not as prominent as some of this other stuff. But there is a connection and a through line between the author of the article from Axios as well as Marissa Street, who works for PragerU. And I'm sure you won't be too shocked to see what that connection is. And so that's kind of the gist of the daily stuff that's happening right now so far. We have Hassan continuing his response to, I guess, Nick and this overall kind of treatment he's getting, everyone telling him he belongs in prison, which is, true, based. Yes, he does belong in prison. But he basically does it's like he kind of almost got the call, got the signal. And what's funny about this is I had been kind of talking about this, and Nick had been talking about this, and he did a lot of this on the show yesterday, about how Hassan being, dealing with now this Israel critical element of now being canceled or being banned or being deemed anti-Semitic. But even prior to that, Nick was doing a good job of basically laying down the framework or groundwork of why what the main differences are between the left wing and the right wing Israel critical individuals. And so obviously Hassan Piker comes from a vastly different source than what we do. Hassan Piker obviously reacts to it much more in the oppressor versus the oppressed, the matrix left wing viewpoint, which is there's always classes of people. One is always wielding power against the other, especially if it's not in a perfect, never been tried before communist commune or whatever Hassan Piker believes in. Who knows at this point? And he did it again today, calling Israel Nazis. He literally verbatim says, no, it doesn't matter that they're Jewish, they're Nazis. And this actually really defines the viewpoint here from Hassan Piker, and it's honestly very timely given the fact that Nick said this is what he views, and then the day later he's like literally says it almost word for word, this is what I view. And so what you can find therein is Hassan Piker's, really the defining moment is really nothing on Hassan Piker. Hassan Piker actually just serves as the example of why the right-left unity will never happen, because the source materials of which they are actually critiquing what they find to be a problem are two entirely, and I would say diametrically opposed viewpoints. Not that they are a one-for-one opposition to each other, but they just simply are not congruent with one another. So Hassan Piker's also in there. There was a good bit that I saw on Tristan Tate with marriage, and I believe his name is Chase Crawford or Luke Crawford, forgive me. I have a really close IRL friend who loves this guy. He's a very, very, very strong Christian. He loves Jesus. He loves Christ. All of it. And I just realized I didn't even do the main opening. But seemed to be good content. And there was a bit of a back and forth. One of these clips that I saw, but I didn't watch. I just saw the caption of it. And apparently in one of these clips, the question posed by Crawford to Tristan Tate is, how do you feel knowing that if you continue down this path, like your brother's going to burn in hell, since he's not a Christian? And I thought that was actually kind of a very strong question. And so if we can find the clip, we'll react to it here a little bit later. But we'll pay more attention to some of the current ongoings. There's a lot of other stuff happening as well too, although minor, it seems. I know one story I've yet to cover, although I've been seeing it build up and kind of continuing to build up, is this Israel and United States co-joining of military seemingly was buried in one of these recent bills. And it's bad when Alex Jones is losing his mind about it. That's when you know it's bad. And I had thrown this on, I was on my way back from the city, it was 2 or 3 days ago, maybe it was about 4 days ago. And Alex Jones is one of the few people who I follow who ever goes lives, like at all times of the day. And I couldn't find anything really good to listen to. I already listened to everything from Nick. So I put on Alex Jones, and what is he talking about? He's talking about how basically Israel is being given licensure and being walked in many more ways than one, essentially into the Pentagon, being allowed certain kind of benefits and some of this kind of co-joining and this blending of the United States in the Israeli military or military assets or exchanging of information. And truth be told, the military element's one thing, but the intelligence kind of sharing, I think we've kind of already known that this has been happening, although perhaps now it can be done through the proper channels, if you will. I wasn't too shocked about it. But in the reaction, though, Alex Jones is like, what the hell even is this? And Alex Jones, and to be honest with you, this is the hardest I had ever heard Alex Jones going against Israel. And he was verbatim saying things to the effect of, this is why people, like what they said in the phone call, this is why people hate this. Like, this makes no sense. It's entirely nonsensical. Now, again, he's still going on with the globalists. But then who does Alex have on? What was it, yesterday or 2 days ago? Alex Jones has on Handsome Truth, and they have literally a Jew off. They're like, Jew, 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 Jew. I saw a still shot earlier today of them both. They're both in their respective camera frames, both giving the Sig Heil. And it's just like, Alex Jones is just like, he's something, man. Like, Alex Jones is honestly just something. And so that's going to be where we're at for today. Ben Shapiro also was gaslighting everybody on Hassan Piker. For those who might have missed it, Ben Shapiro gaslighting everybody, saying that the banning from the UK of Hassan Piker has nothing to do with Israel. Nothing. Literally nothing. Zilp. Nilch. Nada. Nothing. And for those of you, and the reason why we're reacting to it here in a little bit is because we know nobody watches Ben Shapiro. We know the Daily Wire is a failing company institution, and we are all waiting. It'll be a glorious, glory will be the day when the Daily Wire does not exist and their accounts get deleted, glory, glory will be the day. Like, we're all waiting for it. It could not come soon enough. Ultimately, that'll depend on how much the Hasbara money they have left. That'll ultimately give us an idea of how long they'll kind of exist here. And that's ultimately what they are, is Hasbara wing, propaganda wing. And a few other crazy things to react to as well. Megyn Kelly and Sean Ryan did a podcast earlier today. Looks like Megyn Kelly and Sean Ryan both are continuing their Israel critical positions and stances. Megyn Kelly, I think serves as a bit of a stronger positive, given the fact that she obviously commands a bit more of a female audience inside of the space. But in the same way of Tucker Carlson, she kind of represents as I guess a white person who is just reactive to what's actually kind of going on. And so overall, I would find it to be a little bit of a positive. Not that I would tell people to go listen to a woman, but again, I can't control everything in this universe. And so while things are happening that are outside my control, I think there are some net positives outside of that. Sean Ryan, the jury's still out on Sean Ryan. I don't like the fact that he was as high up and tied into CIA as he was for the duration that he was, but he does seem to be in lockstep basically with where Tucker Carlson is at now. Although he was kind of late to the party, you can't get me to not look at the CIA ties. I find that to be particularly coincidental, given the fact that the other people inside of this space also who are pushing for it, Tucker namely, have CIA ties as well, and Joe Kent, and you can kind of go down the line a little bit too with all the people who have their connections to intelligence agencies. So that brings us to the overall of what we're going to be talking about today. There are also multiple protests happening. It's not just in Southampton, I should say. There's no H. I keep saying Southampton, but it's actually Southampton with no H. And that is that there are actually, and I pay attention to this because, again, everybody knows here I am Albanian. That's a joke. But off the coast of Albania, there's a project being done by Ivanka Trump. Well, being done by Jared Kushner. Ivanka Trump is just talking about. I doubt she has anything to do with it, but she was a part of this. And so Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump are actually intending on building some kind of major and massive luxury resort project. That's some kind of like massive island that will exist off the coast of Albania. Not really seen too many details about it, but we can see it and react to it. And what's funny is not only do we get that, there was also an announcement that there's a $16 billion mile-long city boat that's being built. And I'm not even joking you. They're building a $16 billion project of a mile-long ship that is meant to hold people, meant to be their home. And you will live on the sea. You will basically live on a cruise ship. Something to the effect of it can hold 50,000 people. It can have 10,000 tourists, and it needs 20,000 crew members to operate. Just kind of I would never do that. Maybe for a couple of days, but to live there and imagine how expensive it would be. Like, that's a no for me. And how quick would that get turned into a Carnival cruise? How quick would we have Nissan Altimas? I'm like, we're 4,000 miles out to sea. Somehow a Nissan Altima is like ramping off the side. But like, how did that even get here? Then you turn around and everyone's got the Kool-Aid and they're having their pineapple spears, whatever that jarred pineapple thing is going around in the black community. I mean, like, I'm not paying 10 grand a month to live here. Like, I'm sorry. This is actually hell on earth. It actually is worse because I can't escape. My only option is to jump into shark infested water or be surrounded by a bunch of chimps chimping out. Not a good option. Anyways, that's what we're going to be getting into. So let's get started.
Cut straight through, offensively accurate, that's the view.
Okay, so what we'll be paying attention to first off is everything happening over here in Southampton. Eek says, what laws do they have to abide by? Who knows, to be honest with you. Especially if it is some kind of like amalgamous international community. There's like a bunch of different citizens from different nations all in that boat. It would be interesting. Maybe they would just adopt some kind of like UN rule set or something like that. It would be intriguing because like, who would claim you? Would you still have your nationality? All those things down the line. I don't know. Either way, it's a no from me, dog. Like I want no part of being on a boat like that. Southampton, ridiculous name. I agree. But again, these people are, they are our inferior others. You know what I mean? These are the left behinds. This is what was left of of white people, all the ones who were loyal to the king. This is, okay, enough with the chastising him. But this has been all over the feed over the last just couple of hours, and it looks like it has actually been increasing in volatility, if you will. So when I was paying attention to it earlier, it was just a bunch of demonstrations, and it kind of immediately, quickly off the rip, some of the opening demonstrations immediately flooded into areas that the police did not want them to be at. Certain cities, or not certain cities, but certain streets being roped off, certain sidewalks, certain areas they were saying, you can't be here. And rather quickly, all of a sudden, people were everywhere. And so there's been some. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that.
1984 just subscribed on YouTube.
Massive appreciation of that. There has been some of the people have been mooning during the riot that's been going on, which I found to be actually literally insane. But there's a photo, and I hope I don't run into it by chance, but the guy literally pulls everything down and is mooning the police. You also have some of these other segments where the police are just literally they're like being screamed at and essentially kind of one step away from basically being spit upon. And so there's kind of some good energy being felt, and it's actually kind of a good sign to see this is the reaction from the people in this area, obviously reacting to the body cam footage, reacting to what we are all actively just enjoying even in ourselves in here in America, which is that if you are white, you are otherwise basically essentially ostracized and treated and given a second tier of justice. If you do something wrong, you're held to the highest degree possible, and they also bring up your family history. They'll literally, they'll dissect you left and right. But if you're black, race reversal, we know all of this. And so it's a good thing to see that they are reacting to it in this format in Great Britain. And this is actually good. And good in the sense that it at least shows there is people alive who are aware of what's going on and are willing to actually stand up for it. Now, I do think that there have been some responses from people that have been saying, I think you've been hearing this for a while, even I have been privy to saying this too, but I think I would actually have to say that I think I have been incorrect. And I would agree with, I think, what was that, I believe it was by Lucas Gage earlier today. I don't know if it was Lucas Gage, but somebody said this, and I actually happen to agree with it. And because many people have been saying, what's up, Smelly Bones? Many people have been saying that when we look at the UK, when we're looking at Great Britain, what we're looking at is basically our future. It's kind of like the same thing that they say about California. What you're seeing is essentially going to be the rest of the US. Holy crap. What's going to be the rest of the US in just a matter of years. The reality is we are, us in Europe, we are parallel with each other. It's just the fact of the matter is that in the UK, we view it with a bit of a different kind of view upon it, because obviously there's a little bit of differences in the way that it's actually happening. But many of you are well aware of the fact that Austin Metcalf was killed and stabbed in the chest by Carmelo Anthony, not the actual good one that plays in the NBA, who actually was a decent NBA player, but a random black individual. And what we know about this case, obviously, is that the bond was just insane. He was allowed to graduate from prom. You can even just do the contrast and comparison between his case and Chud the Builder. The issue is, though, is many of you might have forgotten this, but when he was stabbed, do you guys not remember that they confiscated the phones of many people who were actually in that area to make sure that photos of the incident did not get out? So this actually would put us further ahead than where the UK is. Because in the UK, we somehow got the body cam footage released of the event that actually occurred there. Here in the United States, the police will seek and confiscate the imagery and items from you so that you can't post them publicly. And so many people might not even be aware of this, but yes, there were individuals who had their phones and cameras and otherwise were confiscated by the police. And otherwise, we probably would have had a reaction that was much stronger. Imagine if those photos would have been posted on the internet. So it's a much more of a dystopic kind of version of it, actually. And I think there are things that are in America that are a bit more positive to it, and there are things that are a lot more negative, given the current iteration of it. What you can see here is they are obviously getting up and antsy, and even inside of here, overloading the police. Looks like they're pushing the police back throughout this entire video, which again, good on them. I think all the police who were a part of that, I think we've already seen that one of the males who have been I think it was the only male officer, I believe, has resigned. So I think the jury's still out on what's going to happen to the rest of them, which I think is actually kind of a sign that he knows what's coming. And imagine that you're the guy who caused this, and then you quit on the job. So then all the other cops who didn't do what you did are having to sit there and fight back for the people, and the guy who did is like not even there. He's like at home chilling. He's like watching on his couch. Like, I know they want me. That's just kind of obviously ironic a little bit. And the UK government are the enemy of the people. Yes, they are. I will say too, I saw earlier today that Nigel Farage came out, and this is without, again, Nigel Farage, I know people find a view one way or the other, but I will just say this objectively. Nigel Farage came out with like a 49-second video. He posted it from his own main personal account. You can go find this here, where he straight up says that the anti-white discrimination has to stop. This was posted by him from his personal, or from his government account, I should say, 12 hours ago, and it's less than a minute long. Here's what he has to say.
In culture, enough of anti-white prejudice. A promotion of the idea that white lives matter just as much as black lives. An end to DEI and positive discrimination, but a country that treats everybody equally and fairly before the law. This is serious. This is urgent. I fear for where our society will be in a few short years if we don't grip this and do it very, very quickly. I want to send my sincerest condolences, the country's sincerest condolences to Henry's family. I hope this is the last time a British police force operates in this way.
Which is a good rhetoric, I will say. What on the other side of it though, it's Keir Starmer, and Keir Starmer is honestly maybe the most disgusting, vile, evil piece of shit I've ever seen occupy an office that's not in my country, if you will. Now, obviously, I think there's other disgusting and evil people, but Keir Starmer honestly takes the cake because he is, by all accounts, he is a race traitor by every stretch of the imagination, especially with the authority he holds in office. But that's another point. We'll get to that in a second. But first, I'll answer this from Jared Williams. He says, Alice, what are your thoughts on Jake Monroe, the goth guy? Seems like, thank you for following on Kick. I appreciate that.
7 just followed on Kick.
Thank you. But JR says, Alice, what are your thoughts on Jake Monroe, the goth guy? Well, by appearances, I don't. he looks pretty rough by appearances. I'll read this off of over here. Where's it at? Excuse me, I missed it. But my thoughts overall on Jake Monroe, he's obviously pushing back strongly against the Muslim invasion. I ultimately don't know too much about Jake Monroe beyond just like the clips that I see on X on the timeline. I've never seen a full show of his. I've never seen anything really beyond like a minute or two clip of his. So he says some good things. He seems to be in alignment with the Wilsons, actually. I've actually seen Andrew and Rachel Wilson, I think, both interact with him on the timeline. But I would have to see more from him to give an actual full-throated opinion or a comprehensive opinion of what I think about him. I will say as someone who uses physiognomy very strongly and views the ethos to also be another strong element, his telegraphs to me that he is not fully a heterosexual male, and that would be the opening opinion. I know it's the lowest hanging fruit, but come on, and it's just like, come on, what man gets up, put all that makeup on their face? Like, to me, it's just like, there's an element of there that I think even at the bare minimum, there's probably an element of narcissism inside of that. But again, that's a lot of people who are in these spaces. And again, I don't know the guy, but if you were asking me just from a distance, those are some of my opening thoughts on him. A couple of them says that I think they released the police footage to cause riots and push for more censorship. Remember, this is the UK left-leaning government. That is another point to be put there too. But I guess given the history of what white people do when one of theirs is killed, I think it rarely ever results in a riot. It's typically the other way around that results in a riot. So I would imagine that they released it expecting that there wouldn't be much pushback, given that they have essentially enslaved their people to the altar of race and religion and Islam and everything else, and tolerance and all the other bullshit that comes with this woke virus. GR says the 2 Muslim brothers who attacked the Manchester airport police were found not guilty earlier this week, despite the evidence. That's lovely. We love to hear that. I do know that there was another statement put out by somebody in the Sikh community, I do believe, about this on the individual, and I'm forgetting his name, and it's not American, so I literally could care less if I remembered it or not. But whoever this random Indian, Sikh, whatever, killed Henry Nowak, they gave a statement from the community. And it's like, who wants to hear that? Who even, who cares? Like all the Sikh community, like, oh, I'll go. It's not gonna bring anybody back. Just keep your mouth shut. You're invading the country. Like nobody wants you there. But again, I mean, at least they put out a message, I guess, in trying to be. And what's funny as well too is there was a clip that was posted by Tyler Oliveira when he was interviewing. I think it was recently, but he was having a conversation with Tommy Robinson, and it was inside of that conversation that Tommy was like, like I don't really mind like the Sikhs as long as they're keeping themselves. It's like, dude, I can't stand Tommy Robinson or whatever his real name is. If Donnie's in here, he always corrects me. I can never remember what his actual name is, but it's not Tommy Robinson. And yeah, I know I'm also not that overall familiar with Farage, but I do know that he is obviously very controversial. But I just thought that the rhetoric being pushed by him on the TL from his personal account, I think was also trying to possibly get ahead of what they maybe see as being a lot stronger of a reaction than what they first expected. Yeah, Killen says too late, Nigel. Yeah, agreed. Hal says a goth is one step away from clown. I agree with that too. And yes, I do overall agree. Like I do think that Farage is ultimately a clown. Anybody who is really worth their weight in marbles would have said something much sooner than the day after, or the couple of days after he was ultimately murdered. And so what I will say is I'm going to take you to the Stephen Yakely. That's crazy. Sounds super American. But Keir Starmer's response, just to again show you a little bit of what's going on. Craig Butler says, "Am I late? Only by about 30 minutes." This is, I believe, Keir Starmer's response here to Nigel Farage. And what does he do? Oh, he condemns him. Oh, that racist man. Oh, that racist man. And look at Keir Starmer's ugly fat face getting ready to tell you that you're a racist. How dare he go against the wishes of the family? And that's the other thing too, is I believe somebody said on the kick stream last night that the father of the white boy, the young white man who was murdered, was like trying to make excuses for like the ceremonial dagger or something like that. Let me say this for the entire community, like, fuck you. Absolutely fuck you. This is the kind of shit that we are tired of putting up with. And I don't think anybody needs a consistent reminder. And here's the thing too. Most people have already kind of accepted it. Most of us in this kind of space have accepted that we've basically been abandoned by pretty much everyone else. But it's another thing entirely to then see it in the proactive sense from the father being like, no, like, no, I'm sure my son was racist. Like, no. It's like, honestly, throw that guy in jail too. That guy should be underneath the jail. If your own son dies and you don't do everything in your fucking power to fight back for your son, the injustice that happened to him, like, I think that you should be the one that gets thrown in jail too. Like, I actually would like to see you thrown in jail first. The responses from the father was just honestly disgusting. But here's Keir Starmer.
I think Nigel Farage's reaction is the wrong reaction. And I start my answer to your question through the eyes of the family. They have said they do not want this whipped up. They have been through the most extraordinary, awful experience. They don't want this whipped up. And Nigel Farage is completely wrong to use this to try and create division. He would be wrong in any circumstances. But when Henry's family are saying, please don't do that, it's our son, then really, as politicians, as human beings, we should start where they start. And that's where I start. And why?
It's just so pathetic. It's so pathetic. The family already said, don't make this about race. Like, what is Nigel Farage doing? It's like, no one cares. You think that this is a one-off instance, that this is just the element here of the stabbing has only occurred to the people here in this family, that it's not a widespread issue, that the lower level vibrations of all the evilness that's occurring because of this invasion of the immigration, of the open palm giving to all these foreign peoples, putting them all on welfare, handing them money. This is Keir Starmer honestly is like, I feel the rage, like I miss the rage. Like, I feel it, dude. Like, if I was somebody in Southampton, like, I would be getting active today. Like, I would be. especially when this is the response. It's like he's trying to hide behind the family. He's like hiding behind the family members of who are already cucked. He's like, no, like, please, they said don't make it about race. No, Nigel, no. Nigel's being racist. It's like, is the intention like trying to get the Great Britain to like blow up into 1,000 little pieces to get these people to get super active? It's honestly disgusting. Dressar Boulevard says that both me and Pintsep are streaming, so tough. That's funny. Hey, I love Pintsep, man. I was checking in on his stream earlier today. Glad to see he's putting out more content. I think I saw it. Pretty cool thumbnail too. It's like the jet black. It's like the jet black thumbnail with the red tape across the eyes. Yeah, shout out Pintsep. Good man. Craig says worst part is Elon posted about it. Will do nothing to help white people. Oh, of course. Elon seemingly only cares when the UK has race issues. Like that's the only time Elon will ever come out of the woodwork to say anything. Kind of makes you wonder why is American politics so inferior to the racial elements that happen in the UK. He's always quoting every time something happens in the UK like this, he quotes it and he's like, dang. Wow, hypocrisy. Wonder if the racists were swamp. It's like it's always like these super lowbrow like just quotes, and he's just doing it to boost everything. JR says awesome Metcalf dad said the same thing. So did the dad in Springfield who was killed by an illegal Haitian driver. Why do we hate ourselves so much, man? Well, and that's a great point too. I do remember the Metcalf father doing it too. It's like fuck that guy. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Like honestly, fuck you. Like people who are whether it's because he's too afraid or too incapable of possessing the intellect required to understanding what is going on in the world around him, it doesn't matter. These people cannot be you. It's kind of like we're trying to tell ourselves that the pilots, all of our pilots, it's like it's just okay. Like if they're all mentally insane, like if every pilot in the room is all mentally insane, it's just okay. Like it's okay. It's like no, it's not okay. Like you can't just let homeless people walk around McDonald's freely. You just can't you can't let children wield knives. You can't let. It's as simple as that. It's like these people are simply in the way. They are the reason why the system is continuing like this. They are actually the problem. It's not to say like they need to be, obviously don't like harm anybody. We disavow violence entirely here. But I mean, we need to be in a much better position of like, okay, I'm not listening to you anymore. You're done. And people need to be a bit more courageous in the fact and in the willingness to actually engage with it to that degree as well. Not this, you have to understand, like, I fully understand. Because I can sit here and I can envision if something happened to my child in that same format, holy shit, dude, you'd have to speed up my talking to the press conference to like 8 times before you would get any word outside of the hard R being dropped. It's just like, I don't need any understanding or like put myself in those shoes. It's like, I do have children. Are you kidding me? If anything like that happened to my children, like I don't know what I'd do. I wouldn't want to sit here and say like I'm going to straight up be like vigilantism, but I'm not going to sit there and be like, everyone, no, don't be racist. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to be like, can you see? Can we not let another child after mine be and serve as an example of the shit society we live in? Like I'd be sitting on cardboard boxes, like it's preaching the highest levels, like please, like don't let my son's death go in vain. Stop sitting here and lying to yourselves that there's nothing real about race. That's what I would be doing with the opportunity. I'd obviously be angry and I'd probably say things that I would ultimately regret and be probably hateful in the moment, but understandably. But I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, bad people do bad things. Like, it's just like, I'm so tired of hearing that. And everyone is so tired of hearing it. We're so tired of being lied to. And you guys know the feeling too, especially when you know you're being lied to. It's one thing to be lied to and you don't know you're being lied to. But it's an entirely another thing when you know from the jump that every letter of the words coming out of the person's mouth towards you is a lie. That gets you pissed off. It makes me angry. I'm sure it makes a lot of other people angry too. JC Miller says we're too individualistic. Too many white people have self-hate. It's weird. I agree with that. I agree wholeheartedly with that. I would actually even say too, I think I've framed it in this way before, but when you kind of look at all the other races, it does seem to be that races have strengths and they have weaknesses. And perhaps, and I would put it forward, perhaps the weakness of white people is their inability, their or their preference to not collectivize, I guess, or their preference to push more towards individualism, or their preference to tolerate, right? Is it perhaps that's the weakness of white people, because it seems to be all of the other white nations seem to be experiencing the same things, from the tolerance to the same kind of methods and the same strategies. But we do need to overcome it. We need to just, we need to just get it out of our heads, and not even that we need to change wholeheartedly of some of these value propositions, whether it's collectivist or individualistic. It's just like we need to stop playing pretend, because all of this is all pretend. Everything that Keir Starmer is doing is pretend. Everything that Nigel Farage is doing is pretend. Everything that our politicians do is pretend. It's like that's the problem, is everyone's pretending. If we can stop pretending and be honest about what's actually happening, then we can actually maybe move the pieces here, have communications. But until we actually start speaking word to mouth of what is actually happening, which is there are actual problems inside the Black community that go way deeper than what is considered Black culture, that our society is, by all accounts, ran, owned, and operated by a Jewish fifth column in this country, and has been happening for years on end, we might actually get somewhere. And that's when I view things even too, like the woman question, which is to go, we can even get past the stupid myth of that women and men are all completely equal. That women can be just as a firefighter as a man can. That, like, and like that's what I mean. Like, obviously in bite-sized bits, but we have to remove the lies. There's no more of like overlooking it, because it's all pretend. And if anything you say is built off this pretend hippy-dippy worldview of egalitarianism and nothing that God created or did or said in the Bible or scriptures is meaningful, well, then we're all just kind of pussyfooting around. We're all just kind of squeezing each other on the ass and waiting until our ultimate untimely demise. We need to be serious about the problem. We need to speak wholeheartedly and truthfully. It's not to say red pill your grandparents and red pill your 7-year-old son, but it's to say, like, again, when the opportunities arise and present themselves, you need to be able to be that person who can lay down the law. You go, no, what the hell is this? You go, no, like, I'm not doing this. And think about pretty much every example in history of anything actually changing or being meaningful of a change, even if it's down the dumps, it's apocalyptic. What is it? It's a strong, generally white man standing up and overcoming. So you need to be able to put yourself in those positions. It's not even to say that everyone will have those opportunities either, but we all need to be striving to be as self-sufficient as humanly possible. Again, it's not like we can control every element, but we can control what we can control. And if you are in a position where you can't control what you can control, you need to change that immediately. But yeah, I do. It's going to be a long-term thing. None of this will change overnight. Especially because, again, a lot of it is also to do with the fact of how receptive people are to hearing it. And I think when you view the average normie audience, the average normal person, I think nowadays on the white thing, it's a little bit different. I think you could get a lot more receptive ears to the racialized problems here in America. But specifically, if you were talking about something like the JQ, it's going to have to be like in bite-sized bites. And part of that is because there is a literal reflexive social instinct or reaction to go, no, because of the base core of most people's foundations of thinking. And again, understand this too. Like, and House put a great article on tinfoilhat.com in the Discord earlier. I think it was maybe about yesterday. But it talks about how, like, the school systems don't even teach things. They don't teach tradition. They don't teach foundations. They don't teach basic concepts. They're in the business of teaching things from a political view, to ultimately groom and encourage these people to becoming activists and to view things from a political lens. And so in doing so, it's like they are taught from this early age, like egalitarianism, equality, tolerance. And then they don't know math, they can't read, but they can definitely get up in arms if they see any person castigating any group as lesser than, even by a fraction of a percentage. Because what they have been taught, what their actual base understanding of the world is everything's equal, everyone's equal, everyone deserves something, there's no differences, and anyone who's not tolerant of the prior four we must be intolerant of them. They must be eliminated, canceled, and otherwise removed from society. You know, it's a big old joke, you know, but these are like, this is what makes up the base level of the foundation. It's like, yeah, I'm sure the average seventh grader can't read, but you better be darn sure as hell if I sit here and say, you know, well, about black people, they're going to be like, because they know. And not only do they know just off of the education that they get from going to school, but every social institution reinforces this. Every social institution reinforces the concept that anything less than full-blown equality, and that everything, that no one's different, that there's nothing, you know, genetics mean nothing, you know, it's cultural. They will react to it in that format. Keir Starmer, man, what a piece of trash. What a piece of human garbage. Yeah, we're chatting out. Yeah, true. Very true. Tersar says Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain support remigration. Want to ban kosher and halal. He also had the best response to this. I agree. I've seen a bit about Restore Britain. I've been seeing a lot more of remigration, although less so since it's been a minute since I talked to the Portugal and Nick Fuentes. It's a lot more prominent in the international side. JR says, Zeb brought up a good point last night, and that was we need to come together and stop undercutting one another because of trivial differences and what needs to happen, stand together without fail. Yeah, I mean, and ultimately, this is, I mean, I would like to agree, you know, and I would agree, I do agree wholeheartedly, especially if you even look at that just in the lens between like Catholic, Protestant, and Ortho. You know, put the guns down. Like, why are you aiming at each other like there's 10 of us in here all pointing guns at each other, surrounded by 10,000 orcs. It's like, you know, like I've always longed about that, but some of these people, they can't let it go, you know. And I'm never going to be someone who's going to initiate an attack on somebody either. But some of these people, they cannot let certain things go. And for some people, it's ego, and for some people, it's the need to be right. But I guess we'll take it from who's willing to get agreement with too. You know, and Zeb's somebody who's at least willing to have conversations and not full blown, you know, castigate or cut people off. But I would like if we could move closer in that direction, wholeheartedly. Craig Butler says CNN Groyper said women can vote because we need a big coalition, almost like he never watched the show. I'm glad you brought that up. I do have I have a clip, at least one of them, I think, of the Groyper interview that was done on CNN, and it is behind a paywall. And man, does that cringe. Talk about like cringe. I could have watched that thing from a phone, from an airplane window 3,000 miles away, and I would have felt the cringe in the core of my body. That's how cringe this interview was. And what's kind of wild about it is the big fat, well, they're both kind of chubby, but the real fat one, I've never seen him beyond this interview. I've never seen him like his socials or anything, and for good reason, probably. He probably like avoided it because Nick immediately started dumping on them. But what's funny is, in addition to that, you have the other one who is AF deplorable, and he's been boosting his X account as much as possible. And what's crazy about it is, Pints that posted a 12-minute video. Oh, we'll have to watch that. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to watch it. But the other one, the AF deplorable, the one that's been vocal and has the X account, and we've talked about him before here on stream. He has actually like been growing, and he's basically fully aligned with all of the A-loggers. So he's getting like full-blown support from anybody who doesn't like Nick. They like this guy's post, and it's like, it's kind of a big gimmick because you got to know like nobody's got to like
Lee
this guy.
Hamilton just subscribed on YouTube.
Thank you for the subscription. We appreciate that, brother. Thank you. But you just sit there and you think, there's no way anybody actually likes this guy. You know, he's a former Groyper who got basically, and the only reason he's out is because Nick attacked him. And the people who are liking his post are like Jade McNeil and Leonardo Joni and like Dan Bazarian. And it's like, they don't agree with that guy either. They would probably clown on him too for the way that he behaves. It's like, so he's simply just a tool. Like he's just simply like a tool that people like either just engage with as a sign of how they feel about Nick. Either you're commenting and replying saying, go find a bridge, or you're liking the post because if you see anything that's anti-Nick, you're just, you are down ballot, Democrat voter. Click, 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 click. This is how these A-loggers are for the most part. Yes, make sure you like the video or the stream, forgive me, and subscribe if you've not already. But thank you, Tix Palmer, for the reminder. Dursar Boulevard again says the traditional roles make sense to be encouraged and made easier to have, but I don't know, lack of voting would be counterproductive. Well, ultimately, women vote very, very left leaning. If you separate it to white women, it's a different story. I think white women actually in the majority vote Republican, but again, what does that even really mean? I mean, we want the GOP to burn to the ground. So I don't know if being aligned with the GOP is any kind of measurement or heuristic by any means. But what I would say is, if you were just to scale this, I don't have the exact number in my head, but if you just were to say 6 out of 10 women vote left leaning because they are biological priors and political priors, and because they are actually indoctrinated to an insane degree, then I would say it would be a net positive to remove them from the voting pool, because you'd be removing a left heavy, a Democrat heavy group completely, meaning you would lose Republican votes, definitely, but it would be a net positive or a net swing to the right. I wholeheartedly, I've been agreeing. I don't even, we're talking about voting rights, dude. Like, I don't even think women should be driving. I think women shouldn't have driving privileges. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going way beyond, and part of it's because I have to. Like, I have to go further. That way, when somebody goes, well, no, women should be able to drive. I just don't think they should vote. They're the moderate. So, but I mean, I literally wholeheartedly don't even think women should be allowed to drive. I don't think people after retiring should be allowed to drive unless they pass a test. I would go much further in restrictions too. And again, you got to think about too, like, what do these people even like? What's the average person do to earn their rights? What duties is the average person honoring? For the most part, none. For the most part, everyone, we kind of exist in a society. We exist in a society that's crazy. A lot of what can be explained of where we are right now because of the abdication of responsibility, because of the escapism. And to that end, it's like, yeah, I do think there should be a reckoning in terms of what people should be doing, the vigilance required, the attention to detail needed to actually have all of these rights. Not to say I think people should have every right stricken from them if they don't read the news. It's not what I'm saying, but it would be in that element, and we had the founding fathers tell us this. We have to pay attention. You have to be vigilant. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. They have been talking and warning about the direction that the government would go if it is not held in the highest regard by Christ-loving men. It's just as simple as, and we know that's not the case anymore. And it's like, no wonder why we are in the middle of a chaotic, nonsensical society. We have also about the setting differences. Lungs of Faith used to be Catholic, now he's Orthodox. Of course, Pinestep didn't agree with that me neither, but I think he's still helpful and good. Interesting. Yeah, well, I know Pinestep's a lot more hardline on the Catholic element than what I would be. But I mean, it makes sense. He's Catholic. I consider myself religiously homeless, and I know people probably don't even enjoy hearing that, but I'd be remiss if I was anything but honest with you guys. So I can still attend Lutheran services. I would like to go to Orthodox to go to a liturgy, but ultimately just not on the cards. It's where I live at right now. No, moving on from here, this is obviously a bit more. There's some more I wanted to actually go to directly. This is more flooding of the streets of Southampton. I'm sure there's probably even worse videos happening right now, but just to show you, this is what it looked like earlier today around 2:30. Now, in comparison to the video we saw at the beginning of stream, this is a lot more calm, a lot more organized, and seems to be a bit of a march. But perhaps they're going to the police station, so maybe this was just them calm before they actually got to their destination. Now, this is what we were kind of talking about a bit earlier on the tolerance element, and I wanted to kind of just bring it back to the forefront here and really make this point. And again, this is coming from Lucas Gage. No, not everybody's a fan of Lucas Gage. Don't have to be, but I agree with what he says here. He says, if the British will let their daughters get raped by gangs and their sons to bleed to death over racism, they deserve to lose everything. I no longer have sympathy for cucks of any group. Nature will destroy the weak as they deserve it, and only ensure I'm not among them. And so that's what I was saying earlier. Like, I don't even care to appeal to the fathers who, when their sons died in instances like this, like rush to the press to tell everybody they're not racist. Like, I'm done with that stuff. Those guys need to be shamed and humiliated for the traitors that they are, for the lack of fathers that they are too. So I do agree very, wholeheartedly here with Lucas on this. Like, I think that we need to be done with them. And there needs to be an intention behind it as well too. Like, intentionally, like, we are not going to put up with this weak, pathetic, humiliating behavior I will not be associated with a man who cannot even claim his own son because he's feared being called racist. You deserve worse than death were that an option available here on earth. That's what I would say. It's not to say that, and again, we disavow violence. We no incitement of violence, nothing like that. But it is speaking metaphorically to what these people deserve in terms of justice. It's disgusting, man. I'm tired of dealing with it. I'm tired of experiencing it. I'm tired of being around it in general, just like in the day-to-day of life. Like, I'm tired of like when I'm in the city, when black people start like, shooting fireworks off into the street, or like they literally just start like fighting each other for no reason in the middle of a parking lot. Well, there probably was a reason. It was probably because that guy had his lemon pepper wing and he didn't agree. It's like, I'm tired of everyone just like, everybody looks and they go on. It's like, no, dude, like where are the white men who are jumping in and like beating them up too? The white men should be stepping in and beating the crap out of these people. No, just kidding. They should be like, but there should be an intolerance to it. It should be like people pointing it out. We should be recording them. Be like, dude, this behavior is intolerable. And obviously not in the sense of like you going over there and adding to it, but in the sense that like there should be, why is the response to ignore? Why is the response to tolerate? And again, it's a lot of normie individuals who otherwise, maybe for the most part, probably don't even agree with you. Maybe they see that and they just go like, oh, wow. They don't see it the same patterns that you do. Obviously, I think there's many reasons to describe that. But it is to say that it doesn't change the fact that how I feel is I am tired of feeling like there's always a non-reaction, that there's always an element of tolerance, that everyone just like goes, well, this is just the way it is. Well, damn it, I don't want it to be this way anymore. And this concept that you can't change anything, and like it's so bullshit, like it's so bullshit that you can't do anything to change it. And especially when you look back at all these other, you can just look at other countries that changed their way of life. You look at previous historical examples of great men doing great things to change just the way it is. And you get told over and over and over again by some of the older people and some of the older crowds as well. It's such a weak, limp-wristed lie. There's always an answer. You always have a choice. You always can keep going. This concept of that, it's just, there's nothing you can do. And it like, and a lot of it does go to, again, like this, like the premillennial dispensationalist view. Where you just have like this, you have this concept that like, it's just always going to get worse and there's nothing you can do because it's always heading that way. It's the fall of man. We're heading to the revolution, the revelation, the end times. And again, it's just straight up like no one will know the day or the hour. So at what point did it say stop trying? At what point did it say give up and take it? Like, holy crap. And there's so much of this that kind of falls, not as if like it wholeheartedly, like people read that and they're like, well, I am a premillennial dispensationalist, so I believe this. It's like, no, some of it just comes, it's a modest kind of pass through from overall ideals. And I would imagine if you ask the average Christian, they wouldn't even be able to tell you what they were. Am I pre? Am I post? Am I A? What do you believe? And again, a lot of that comes from watered down Christianity overall. A lot of these people who just are, they're not even really given the honest kind of robust talking to that's required of somebody, that's like, if you are seeking out Jesus Christ and you are a Christian, like, here's what you should understand. Here's what you should know. It's like, again, and it's not to say that the message of Jesus is bad by any means. Please don't take it this way. But it is the fact that so much of it has become so gospel centric. It's so limited to the 4 books. It's so irrespective of everything else inside of Christianity that it's just, it's so shallow. It's so weak. It's like you think all Christianity is just like what's in the gospel. It's like, no, I mean, like, it's not to say it's bad by any means, but it's to say like there is a lot more here. There's a lot more inside that makes up what is Christian, that makes up what is the forward vision, that makes up what we have learned from, that connects this father to this father, that connects the understanding of these verses. Like there's a more to it than like what it feels like the Toys R Us version that you get for the $3.99. That's what most churches feel like. It's a $3.99, fast food version of what the actual experience should be. And I think this is actually shown in the fact that many people have been leaving Protestantism. Many people are turning to the church in general because they want a sense of purpose. But you also see, even inside of that, you saw a mass exodus of people going to orthodoxy. And why is that? because they were irritated largely from all of the female elements, but also irritated that most of these Protestant churches feel like the people are, jumping up like with a banjo string guitar, and every woman's flashing a massive camel toe. They're singing, Jesus is my boyfriend, music, and it never leaves the bounds. It never talks to anything that's actually real. And they center around a bunch of stuff that like doesn't really speak to the world. And that's kind of the key point there, which is like, that's what these churches should be speaking to. Like most pastors should be offending people in their church, because most people in church are probably not holding up the perfect example of what Jesus is, obviously. And so that's when you get to these concepts of like, why is there, the world is being, white people are being annihilated, Jews run society, the gluttony is rampant, technology is all over the place, AI is being insane, pornography is literally everywhere, women won't behave, they won't even submit to their own husbands inside of marriages. And you go to church and they go, well, we just need to be nice to each other. It's like, I just like, it's like, this does not help. This is not helping. And do you think that that's it? That's the best you could do? You have where to go? I think my Bible's on the counter. You have this good book. You have what is it, 66 plus books, depending on what denomination you're coming from. And the most that you can say, the most that you can surmise, what are you doing the other 6 days of the week then, pastor? Like, the best you can do is this. The best you can do is give us a bunch of women singing worship songs for 45 minutes. Not saying that that's bad, but then the sermon's 35 minutes, and it's like I could have watched a YouTube video from a guy from 2001 just talking to himself in his basement. It would have been more inspiring, more philosophical, had more moral integrity than this weak gray level slop that this guy just gave me. And who knows if it's even a guy? Half the time you have women out here doing this shit with rainbow sashes. So, yeah, the tolerance for this is just, it's over. And I think we're seeing a good bit of that as well too. I think we are seeing a strong bit of that. People just being overall just like completely tired. And it's just like, because I'm gonna be honest, like I think a lot of guys just tell themselves too, like that there's only a certain element of like how much I'm even willing to take from this. Like, this is honestly, it's bullshit, dude. This is seriously bullshit. And you can't tell me that every single man above the age of 35 don't understand what it says in the text of the scripture. Some of these guys have got to be knowing what they're doing, knowing that they're cowards, knowing that if they ever spoke up, it may, and like we say, they can only say so much as long as they're leashes to their wife. And that describes so many men above us, so many men in the older generations. And think how many men we could have in our ranks were it not that they feared the collar that was attached to them that was yanked by their wives. Kim Newman says that let's do a full a deep dive into a preterist view. I probably should. I would like to get back on. Forgive me for forgetting. Dunder Whiffen. I would like to get Dunder Whiffen back on to have a deep dive. And to be honest, he's a good bit more knowledgeable on theology overall than I am. Very, very, very smart guy. Lost Grill says, please witness a Roman Catholic traditional Latin Mass before you make the move to Orthodoxy. I have, actually. When I was living in Cleveland, I went to Catholic services multiple times. Although I would say I should do it more recently, because when I was doing it then, I was really only there because people were taking. I wasn't there because I was seeking Jesus. I was in a whole different place of mind then. But I will take your advice, and thank you for saying that. Mike says, bro, just tuning in. I wanted to say I really enjoyed your debate with Artie. You killed it. I appreciate that. Thank you. Although that felt more like it was a debate that I didn't win because of what I had said. I just won because I held the correct position. It was a rough debate overall, though. But I appreciate that. Thank you. Chibanini Price says, healing the ill. That's powerful. We all have an illness. That is true. And he calls on Britain to deport Sikhs. Has anyone asked Tommy Robinson Lennon what he thinks of this? Yeah. I think he, like we said, he's good with them, and I think I'll put that on screen here for you guys, just so you see that, just so you know I'm being honest with you. Man, I might just have to go look up Tyler Oliveira's page. X has been extremely censorious here lately, and just like this, like I typed in Tyler Oliveira, why is his account not one of the first things that pops up? What a crazy photo! But here's this. So he posted this earlier. He says ethnic tribalism is the default setting. And it says Tommy doesn't mind if Sikhs replace us. So take a listen to this.
All the history of Luton Town, this is now an Islamic town.
And if this were a Sikh town, would you have the same problem?
I wouldn't have a problem, no.
Tell me why.
No, because the Sikh community integrate, assimilate, and they work very hard. There's no dominating gangs. They're not attacking our culture. In fact, they integrate and they feel and they become British. All the
Lovely. Lovely. I already forgot it. What did House say? Stephen Yankley is his like real name. And so you have this from Tommy Robinson. It's like, of course. I mean, the guy, Tommy Robinson he loves Israel. He's a Zionist. His only real push is to be specifically and very, very categorically, very narrow against Islam, against Islamists, against Muslims. The Sikhs, the Indians, the street shitters, dude, totally fine. The Pakistanis, the the nuclear weapon having other brand of brown people that just exist, totally fine. Muslims though, Islam, no, has to go. Tommy's just, he's honestly a big joke. That says Catholicism doesn't need tax exemption, plenty of money. Kim Numa says Catholicism and Orthodoxy equals same error in the end. Interesting. Tixomar says, I'm honored to get to bear your witness to, Donnie. Did I say what's up to Donnie? Hey, Donnie, finally. Hey, Donnie showing up. Let's go. W. Donnie. Yeah, deport Tommy. Cool with me. Jersar says the Sikhs and Indians are part of his Goy right. I think this is kind of obvious coming from Tom. I agree. Wholeheartedly, I agree. Spot on. But yeah, what's going on with this this Israeli-India alliance? Yeah, what's going on with this? This Indian partnership they've been building and utilizing. It's honestly kind of sick. And Stephen Christopher Yaxley Lennon. Okay, I got the Stephen Yaxley part. But Donnie has this wholeheartedly. I think Donnie has Stephen. I think he has Tommy's real name tattooed on his chest. He's like, never forget, dude. He's quick with it. David Lopan says street shitters are almost as bad as Ooga Boogas. Ah, man. I think they're worse. I think that they're worse. And perhaps I'm biased because I've lived in Columbus, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I think they're literally worse. I'm actually capable of having conversations with black people. Not all the time, but I've had conversations with them. The other ones, just no. And you know why? You know why? Because I can't even get close. You know, like when you're playing a video game and like when you're going somewhere you're not supposed to, it gives you like a time limit before it literally kills you. Okay, well, I get that. Like if I get too close to an Indian person, it's like, understand, it's like you can breathe these fumes in for 5 seconds or you will die. And I'm like, whoa. So I can't even get close enough to an Indian person to have a conversation with them. You know what I mean? Like it's just dangerous. And then who knows, dude? Maybe I get too close, and then it's not even the fumes that kill me. It's not even the poop on the street that kills me. It's a ceremonial dagger that just came out of someone's pocket, and next thing you know, the cops are making sure I'm dying. This guy bleeding enough? Is he bleeding out? The cop kicks me. I don't know, not fast enough. And then they stand on top of me. They start beating me up. I mean, that's what it felt like in that video. That's literally what it felt like to me. Is he dead yet? I don't know. Anyone got a gun? Like that's literally, it's like they might as well have. And it's not even a joke. It's like, that's how it feels. And then you sit there and you go, even beyond that too. Like I would say part of it, I would blame that the women are just retarded. But even beyond that, you go like, what is this also like a DEI? Like none of these people actually really honestly deserve to be police officers. 3 or 4 of them there, not a single person even thinks to check pulse, to check where the wound was at, and not to do a full body check. Like nothing like that. They're just basically they're literally yanking him around. They're yanking him by his arms. They're yanking him by his legs. Like, dude, and again, that's what I'm saying. Like if I was a father and saw body cam footage, I'd be like, you need to put me in a room alone with these 3 officers, and you need to lock it. And I don't want to hear it. Just leave us there for 2 days. I mean, those people, they need to be at the bare minimum, stripped and never allowed to be police officers again. That's the bare minimum. What I think should happen is I think that they should go to jail. I think every single one of them need to go to jail. Every single one of those cops need to go to jail. The women need to go to jail just because they need to go to jail just for even trying to be cops. And then the male who was on scene needs to go to jail because he's literally the worst, one of the worst people probably ever in existence. Indians are really Jews. Are they? Are they like, or Or did the Jews realize that perhaps the blacks were maybe too much, and they're like, what if we went with another bioweapon? What if we tried Indians? Maybe is this the new? They had a change of heart the last like 20, 30 years. They're like, no, now we've moved on to advanced bioweapons. These things can kill you without even being near you. You're like, what? And you're like, then you just fall over and die because the poop fumes had killed you. They literally choked out and constricted every last oxygen in your body. And there's a disgusting video that was floating around on the timeline not too long ago. It's like in the last couple of weeks, like maybe the last week or so. And apparently it's like this porn star, this OnlyFans star, who has specifically blocked both India and Pakistan. Like she will not take on clients from those regions. And she literally says like she's like talking about how she has trauma, not only because of how badly they smell, but because every single one of them essentially wanted to grape her. Like, and that's just, I mean, what did you expect? Like they're coming from India. They're coming from that kind of culture. You know, it breeds that kind of stuff. You know, it would behoove people to read every once in a while. You know, you would think. David Lupin says, "Oi, those stay wounds look a bit racist, mate." Agreed. That's what I thought too. That's actually usually my first thought when I see a white man bleeding out. I'm like, that guy had to have been racist. Like, what? What the fuck? You know, and this is what's the sad part. That actually does probably describe a lot of people in this country. I bet you if a lot of people in this country saw a white person, like bloodied, and a black person, they would have probably automatically assumed the white person was in the wrong, or was the aggressor, or et cetera, et cetera. U.S. cities doing the same thing, hiring foreigners to be policed. London has a lot of them. I saw that. I think there's like an all-Muslim unit somewhere. I don't know if it's in the UK or not, but kind of a joke, to be honest with you. The Jeets have an insane sense of self-worth. They believe their caste system can also be applied outside of India. Yeah, Vivek seems to think so. That's why we're voting Amy Acton. We're riding the blue wave in Ohio for Amy Acton. Let's go. I will be damned if Vivek Ramaswamy wins. So one of the things, there was a couple other ones. This is just one more before we move on to a few other things. These are the people who are confronting the cops here, and I would like to just put on screen here, specifically because, not because of the black guy, because the other white guy who's not pictured here. I appreciated the rhetoric, and I think it's a bit more spot on than what we've heard previously.
Shamed, innit? You're not all bad now when people do stuff like this, are you?
Disgusting.
Huh?
It's disgusting. Yeah, but see how you all stood here? Take the knee and pay your respect for Henry. Your officers assisted in that man's death. I've drove 4.5 hours to get here. Half of people have, mate. We're fucking tired of you, him, and every police officer in the force. Your left ideology is woke and it is ruining the country. We're sick of it. It's disgusting.
All you do is just stand
and
there.
You just stand there.
Say nothing.
You're horrible. You're vile. You don't care.
Why don't you say something?
Look at all of these people who have come to show their respect for Henry.
This guy is so trippy to me. Like, he's got the Asian tattoo. He's half black, but it's like he sounds, if I close my eyes, I see a classical London Bulldog dude just yapping his jaw. But then you open it and it's like, this is like a Blasian. It's like you know what I mean? Like his accent, the way his voice sounds, is just not match who he is.
The independent officer police conduct, that's all I'm going to say. That don't mean shit.
That don't mean nothing to us. He'll get off with it in 2-3 weeks. Sweep it under the carpet like Labour government always do. Keir Starmer should have been gone by now. We don't care. It brushes it all off. Muppets, mate.
What are you going to do? Put me in cuffs and kill me, yeah? Is that what you're going to do, yeah?
They won't do, mate. They won't do, mate.
So, I would say just from this video alone, I think what you could tell, at like the bare minimum, is that it looks like they are maybe perhaps reacting like together, like in agreement, that like, you know, they're not coalescing around race, but they're coalescing around, this guy is clearly, I'm from Great Britain, you're not. And I think when you hear this guy, you can tell this guy's clearly from Great Britain, right? He's clearly not, you know, from America or Africa. He's got the accent down. And so that's a positive. I mean, that looks as if like these people are standing up for the fact that they are literally being invaded. Now, many people would say it's far too late, and this is now going to require a huge burden of deportations, or in other ways, some other way, shape, or form. How do you get rid of these people? Remigration, what form does that take? How do you get it done? How do you get it done legally? How do you get it done without it resulting into more deaths or even worse, other violence? And how do you get it done quickly and efficiently in a matter of time that actually benefits people? We can't even get to the pragmatics because everyone's screaming racist at the top of their lungs. W, I guess, to the people who are willing to stand up there in Southampton. And it does look like it's getting worse. I'll just real quick do a scan of the top here to see if anything's gotten worse. That's lovely. Sneeko. We can do one from Sneeko, but here's this. That's crazy. They've surrounded the home of the Sikh. Oh my gosh. Let me read the caption here for you. Well, let me not show you the weather forecast for the next 7 days. It says protesters have surrounded the Sikh Digwa household after this isn't even real. You know what I mean? This isn't a real language. Protesters have surrounded the Sikh Digwa household after Vikram Digwa was convicted of murdering Henry Nowak. Digwa's mother was arrested for concealing the murder weapon. I didn't know that. The family called the judge racist for imprisoning Vikram. So that's interesting. I'm going to do this real quick, see if it'll change the chat. If not, might have to retry this again. Like it's still not working. Oh, come on, Power Chat. It's crazy how it always works for YouTube, or always works for Kick, never works for YouTube. It's actually frustrating. All right, resetting that. Hopefully they'll start coming through and be on screen again. It just makes it easier for me to see them if they're on screen. Let's take a listen to this. I would have not expected this. This is actually kind of going fast. Moving fast. Turn it down a little bit. It seemed like it was loud. Brother.
Last train's at 10. Literally just casually like on there. Look, you can see like the TV's just on, so they're obviously still on. Last train's at.
That's interesting. Surrounding his house, family called the judge racist for imprisoning Vikram. That's just crazy. It's like it's still not working. Like, what the hell is going on? You're gonna come through. There we go. Oh my God. What do I pay these Indians for, dog? No, just kidding. I don't pay any Indians. I enslave them. No, just kidding. Just kidding. I would not ever do that to myself. Period. Let me catch up with some of these chats though, and make sure I didn't miss anything crazy from you guys. The dude's embracing the white side. Your anagram says born and raised Catholic. I'm gonna put this up here. It says born and raised Catholic, was atheist for a decade, had kids. Can I make this bigger? I can. Nice. There we go. Born and raised Catholic, was atheist for a decade, had kids and a few religious experience, and are more religious than ever, but hesitate to return to church because they're not radical enough. I do agree. I've been very jaded by some of my previous appearances, even at the Lutheran place and the Baptist place I've been going to. Of course, we get called the family racist. Oh, always. Foulball says these people don't care about racism. They just know it's a magic word that gets them out of trouble. Agreed. And what's up, Foulball? I see you in here, man. Anthony, too, it would have been easier to deport them if they had guns, but the people are so cucked and normally pilled, their government can do anything they want. Agreed. That's why the option is to not be cucked. Call out you see a fellow man getting cucked, call him out. Don't help him, call him out. Shame him. Give birth to a man who will never be cucked again. Use your hatred, Anakin. Like, you know, that's what I'd be saying. Mark Vandy says, here's the deal, guys and gals. The whole world has to become American under the empire or die. That might be the only way to help some of these people out here. Canada Rise says, we started going to church a year ago. We chose to look past some things. Their failures are not my issue. Some pastors definitely know about the JQ and hint at it. That is agreed. And, you know, if you church hop enough, you typically can find a good one. I think the question is, for a lot of people, Is it how much do they want to actually have to hop for it? Yeah, I was trying to make fun of the Indians and it just stops working. Very true. I don't really understand what the issue is with it. It's honestly super annoying. But Sean Connery knows what's up. That's funny. It's just a power chat thing, and I would imagine it's just on YouTube's end. Because if it works for Kick, it's probably just it's got to be a YouTube thing, YouTube issue. And obviously the race reversal. If it was a black man. So moving back over to American politics, one of the other things I wanted to cover was actually the phone call, the Trump phone call. And man, was that not the big news story of last night, and is still going through today. It's like one of the top talked about items. Although it seems many people are perhaps not really knowing what to think of it, how to kind of view it. What is this kind of a sign of? What is this indicating? Does this mean something's gonna change here? Is this a distancing? And let's just go to the phone call here. So forgive me. I have this tweet here from the Residents. It's about Nick, or it's a clip from Nick. But quite literally, the phone call seemed to be that it was, the phone call specifically seemed to be to Netanyahu, obviously Trump and Netanyahu on the phone, and it gets leaked that Trump basically says, this is why everybody hates Israel. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you doing this? And this is obviously in a reaction from Trump towards Netanyahu for their continued incursion in Lebanon, as well as their threatening of strikes in Beirut, like we covered yesterday. Now, the issue is, and I think Nick clocked this immediately, and I think I got a bit more information that he might not have had on the show last night. And again, forgive me, I watched the show this morning on replay, but I had my downers. I was in and out. Yeah, but I tried paying attention as much as possible as I could. And so I have this tweet here from the Resident that says, Nick, Trump begs Netanyahu on the phone, gets ignored, then leaks, quote, the bad call to the press. Trump says, what the F are you doing in Lebanon?
At Brainrot Antidote sent $1.99 on YouTube. Christ is King.
Amen, brother. Christ is King. Never forget it. Always has been, always will be. Christ is King. Say it. Trump goes, what the F are you doing in Lebanon? You owe me. BB escalates anyway. And so this is going to be the caption here of Nick's kind of takeaway of this. And that's where the caption and thumbnail come from. Also, W, and thank you for the super chat, Brainrot Antidote. Thank you greatly. This is where Nick takes it, which is, this is all we're going to get. This is all we can get, is Trump yelling on the phone. And I think there's a bit more to it than even that, but I'll go ahead and play the clip, and we'll pick up where he leaves off.
So we have a deal. Okay, it's all good. We're ready to go. Hey, Netanyahu, you're going to stop the fighting in Lebanon, right? We need our oil. Netanyahu says, not only are we not going to stop, we're actually going to make it worse than ever. We're going to do the biggest offensive yet, and that is literally what they have done in the past week. Netanyahu says, not only are we going to keep fighting, it will intensify. It will be as intense as ever. They're talking about bombing the capital. They're invading the South. So,
it is crazy, isn't it?
Today, Axios is reporting that Trump had a very terse phone call with Netanyahu. Trump called them up and he let him have it. Trump said, what the fuck are you doing? You're invading Lebanon. You're going to make everyone hate Israel. How could you do this? I got you out of jail. You owe me. This is literally the conversation. And then this story,
they had fun in that call.
Conversation was planted in the
trolling the phone cord.
And we are all supposed to believe that Trump is very unhappy with Netanyahu. And you know what is the punchline about this? This is exactly what Joe Biden did throughout 2024. You might remember when the genocide was ongoing in Gaza, when it was the most intense that it ever was, Biden was begging Netanyahu to stop. Please stop killing them. Please, it's ruining my presidency. Please, you're costing us the election.
He's like, fine, I'll only kill 1 million.
Netanyahu was taking foreign aid with both hands, and then he was doing whatever he wanted to do. And so what Biden would do in response is he would leak these types of stories, exactly this, to the Washington Post. And so every month you would get a story. Biden and Netanyahu had a very bad phone call. Biden said, listen up, Jack.
Yeah.
We are not happy. And this just goes to show the impotence of the United States. We can do nothing.
So he did cover this.
All
Okay.
we can do to Israel. Israel is 100% dependent on us. We are fighting their wars. Our president is doing personal and political favors for this
Listen out,
government.
corn pop.
And we cannot get them to do anything. Our economy is about to fucking explode.
Right.
We're talking about gas shortages in September.
And we've been talking about this, right? We've been talking about how even in the beginning, like we're talking about a month and a half ago, when some of the early market speculators were immediately pointing to the fact that even if the war stopped today, these energy costs would be baked into the cake because of the way that they are going to later be felt as things go through the supply chain. Now, what you have, I saw this from Dominic Michael Trippi, I think it was yesterday. I think we put it on stream as well too, but Dominic Michael Trippi now reporting that what we're experiencing now is now the speculation is not even just about the war. We now have speculation increasing the prices of barrels because of expected shortages, because of expected. And so what's that going to do? So now it's not even out, and none of it's not even just a reflection of what's happening in the war. It's now a reflection of what's actually already going to be happening that's coming down the pipeline. You know, not to be a pun by any means.
Okay, we are running out of fuel. It's over. It's already over. Even if the strait opens tomorrow,
It's all that's malarkey.
The economy's crashing. We're running out of gas. Trump is trying as hard as he can, I believe, to end the conflict, and Netanyahu won't do it. There is nothing we can do to change the situation. This is what we have to resort to. We have to go and gossip to Axios, which is like a third-rate public. I read it every day. And I know some people there. Some of the journalists there talk to me, and some of them are okay. But this is not even like the Washington Post. It's not the Journal. You're talking to Axios saying, hey, could you guys tell everybody that Netanyahu is not cool? Trump and his aides are calling up Axios. Hey, listen, you got to get the word out. Trump and Netanyahu are not cool.
So, and that's kind of the gist, right? And I think that and I think that was kind of my immediate feeling of that. Even seeing that posted when I saw it, I think I saw it immediately after closing up shop on stream last night. And I was just like, if Trump actually felt this way, that we would see action, right? You would see something. You wouldn't just see it in the phone call. You would have seen it like in a True Social post. Like you would have seen something more than that. At least that was my expectation. Then my second thought was, it's probably not even real. And I think that's correct. Now, specifically, this was some of the information I wanted to give you. So the guy who published the article from Axios, his name is Barak Ravid, or Ravid, Barak Ravid. Lord knows how you pronounce it. And he's a former analyst who literally worked for Unit 8200, Israel's Unit 8200, which is a small unit, one of their, not their main intelligence service. Their main one is Shin Bet, whatever you pronounce it. But the guy who published the article of the leaked call came from Israel's, and again, Unit 8200. What is Israel's Unit 8200? Well, beyond its existence as a kind of comprehensive intelligence agency, it is also essentially a cyber warfare corps. That's what they do. Unit 8200 sets people up and puts them out there into these positions. There's multiple too. It's not just Barak Ravid. There's many individuals who have went through the pipeline of Unit 8200, Israel's Unit 8200, and have ended up as journalists, as producers who work for CNN and PBS and all the other Axios with Barak Ravid. And so he's the one who publishes this leaked phone call. But understand, Barak Ravid, as a journalist, he began his journalist career at Yedioth Hanaroth. I can't even pronounce these stupid names because it's not English. But he has this strong Hebrew upbringing. He works for one of Israel's largest newspapers. He comes from Unit 8200, which is specifically hell-bent on manipulating their Eighth Front, which is their cyber warfare, which has been in existence for some time, which is also going to be someone we're going to reference here in a second too, which is going to be about Marissa Street, who is the CEO of PragerU, who, if you didn't know, she also comes from Unit 8200. She also was basically raised in Israel from the age of 7. And again, she's a secondary point. We'll get to her. But Barak Ravid, whatever his name is, he joined Axios in 2021. And that's what he has been doing. And just as Nick described, where do you think all these stories of Biden pushing back against Netanyahu came from? Through 2024. Well, the majority of them were published by who? Barack Ravid. And so you begin to see there is a clearly, you can see there's a pattern of behavior. And so by all accounts, the way I would view it is that what he is doing here is he is trying to put into the ether, into the political ecosystem, that there is some distance between Trump and Israel. That Trump is trying to speak to Israel, is trying to reign in Israel, is trying to give the appearances of that. It is trying to sell to you that this even happened. And I doubt this happened at all. They might have had a phone call, but do you think that it happened that way? No, not even close to it. Because if it did, why is the president of the United States only yelling at him on the phone? And if that's the case, if he knows that, if the conversation was Trump angrily responding to Netanyahu for continuing without caring at all about the United States involvement or any other country or nation involved in this Middle Eastern conflict, because they want to just blow up people and fight Hezbollah in Lebanon, then why is the United States not coming down to full force on Netanyahu and telling him to eat it? Because our people matter more than what the hell you want to do in Lebanon, right? Because that would be, I mean, if this is supposed to be the commander in chief, if the understanding is that the United States desperately wants out of this war because of the fact of all the lost leverage, and the idea is we basically have already suffered a strategic defeat. No, I don't buy it at all. Don't buy it for a second. Because what's changed? Is Israel stopping their offensive in Lebanon? No. The last post we have from Netanyahu is that it's going to continue. That everything going on with the ceasefire and all that has nothing to do with their operations in Israel or in Lebanon, which he said multiple times now. That they have the right to defend themselves against Hezbollah. It's a big joke. The bigger thing here is it's not just Barack Ravid. It's not just him. Okay? Barack Ravid is one of many. This has been going on for a very long time. Another example that I have here for you would have been Shasar Paled, someone who you don't know about, but she also served as an officer in UTA 8200. And what did she go do? Well, she serves as a tech analyst beyond Unit 8200. She serves as a tech analyst for their other intelligence service, which is Shin Bay, before going where? CNN. Unit 8200, basically the FBI for Israel. And now I'm getting a job for CNN. Does that make sense to anyone here? Does that seem like a typical career path? I went from the FBI to the CIA to now I'm a producer at CNN. Is that? No. And so it's clear that they have been infiltrating the institutions through these means for an extended period of time. And her specifically, who is it? It's Fareed Zakaria, who still is a CNN analyst. That's who she produced his show. He's still in the news every now and then. Thank you for following on Kick. I appreciate that.
Mama just followed on Kick.
Mama. Hey, appreciate that, man. And she also worked for who? Christiane Amanpour. Christiane Amanpour, an older woman, another CNN analyst. And probably because they're curating. Because why? Because Unit 8200's primary purpose is to serve as the outlet, the cyber warfare core. They gather intelligence, they analyze, and they infiltrate. They set up these individuals as journalists. Ultimately, their real purpose is to serve as connected points, basically pushing Hezbollah. Now, the means of which that Barack Ravid, I keep forgetting his name, and what he served is he served to give people the appearance that there is space between them, that Trump is willing to say things to Netanyahu, that Trump is willing to wield America over Israel. And why would they do that? Well, I think the reason that they would do that is because they're trying to serve themselves in the sense that they are trying everything in their power to eliminate the narrative that basically Israel's just controlling everything, that Israel's wagging the dog, that Netanyahu is basically rolling over Trump. And that would seem to be the case, right? Because imagine that. Imagine the tell here. Imagine the concept, the idea is that we're just like a signature away. We're an agreement away. We're like one visit. I mean, this has seemingly been the push from many of these people. Seemingly that the ceasefire agreement and framework was in this position some time ago, some weeks ago. And the only thing that could possibly disrupt that is Israel bombing Lebanon, continuing their incursion into Lebanon. In what world is America unable to say, we don't give a shit what you want to do in Lebanon. You strike Lebanon, we're going to strike you. We are about to make peace before we set off World War III as we continue escalating with a nation that we are in the dark now for what their nuclear program's capabilities are. But it's not happening. So they have to insert that story, because otherwise, without that story, this all is just becoming a huge dog pile, a huge sand pile of like, we're running out of explanations to even begin to explain why America's not doing what it should be doing. And so there it comes in, Barack Ravid, much like he was installed, much like his sole purpose, and then there he is, much like he served through 2024 for Biden. Here he is, serving up the Hezbollah, serving up the propaganda one more time. No, Trump got so angry. Trump was so mad at Netanyahu. He really told him how it was. Okay, then why has nothing changed? Where's the restriction against Israel? Where's the threat against Israel? Where's the bravado beating on our chest from Hegseth or Rubio or Vance or literally anyone in the fucking administration to say, Israel, you will not jeopardize America or the United States people because of what you want to do in another country? Where is it? It's nowhere, because it doesn't exist. Because the story was a plain story. Because it is literally bullshit. And it keeps up the lie, or I guess rather it protects from the truth. It protects people from getting closer to the truth, from realizing and seeing, the reason why this deal fell through because Israel did this, and Trump was in no position clearly as the leader of the first world of America, of the United States, to tell him no. Well, what does that mean then? What does that say? And so now this serves as a great, I'm sure John Goyle was eating this up. I'm sure him, Patrick Casey, and Captive Dreamer have been bloviating over this story for the past 24 hours. I'm sure they have. Look, see everyone, see? Bunch of fucking losers, dude. Anyways, that was like the main point here, was like Unit 8200 has been operating for some time. Tariq Ravid is no different. The story is bullshit. And we arrive where we left off. Just the Jews still run this nation, and you are not going to get out of this conflict with Iran unless somebody, by the grace of God, can walk into the administration, or someone can just be woken from their slumber and say, Israel, no. Can we do it? I have no idea. I literally have no idea. I'm leaning towards no. Kamal says it also serves the oil markets. They hear this and think the agreement is imminent. Bibi gets to proceed. Gets to pretend he's been restrained. Okay, we won't bomb Beirut, but we'll hold the southern part of the country. And I agree on that end too. And perhaps that's even part of what they're attempting to do as well. Given the fact that if there's already speculation entering the markets that we're about to experience as shortages, or they're already trying to give a timetable of when is this oil going to run out, when is it going to become a much more of a buy as needed situation, then yeah, they're going to have to really start controlling it. Because of the speculation, if they're saying it could very well hit $160 a barrel, and you have this country having to fill up their cars to the tune of like $45 just to get 2 or 3 days of worth of gas to go to work, to buy it all over again. Meanwhile, all they see in the news is BB basically climbing and mounting Donald Trump while we are in war still. At a certain point, people are going to seriously like start snapping. And you already have the Overton window has been slammed to one side. I mean, think about this. You have Megyn Kelly and Sean Ryan going and doing podcast today where Megyn Kelly is like, what even is MAGA? That's what they're having the conversation about. Megyn Kelly, Sean Ryan, they're having the conversation. They go, what even is MAGA? What even is MAGA anymore? And I forget which one responds, but they're like, well, you know, I mean, I guess pedophile Epstein loving elites who love Israel more than anything else. That's Megyn Kelly. That's Grandma Groiper. That's Megyn Kelly. That's the woman. Understand this. Megyn Kelly was the woman who got the only Rosie O'Donnell quote from Trump. Think how far we have moved. Megyn Kelly was the one who asked Trump about his comments about Rosie O'Donnell, right? Fat pig, calling a woman a fat pig. Donald Trump, only Rosie O'Donnell. Now that woman who was trying to flame Trump for his, you know, his mean rhetoric to women is now sitting here saying, what even is this guy besides a pedophile, Israel-loving, you know, philo-Semite? So it is, there's going to be either a point where it's going to either require that they come back in with some kind of like major censorship apparatus or some kind of false flag event occurs that it gives them enough breathing room to get people to go, oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right. We should ban and censor all Nazis and anti-Semites. Or the people snap and we enter uncharted territory. But time's running out. Not in terms of anything extremely short term, but in terms of the Iran war. I mean, the consequences of that's going to be starting to get felt very, very, very soon. And this is almost September. Yeah. But this is the world we live in. This is the world we live in. I thought it was a good point. And I want to connect it to another story that I think is ultimately not as big, but it ultimately may get big. And I'm sure people will talk about it through the week, maybe, perhaps. And that's actually going to Marissa Street. And so I'm going to put it on screen here. This is from Ollie London. And before we get into this, so I just want to give it a little bit. So it's Marissa Street. She's coming from PragerU. Okay, and again, Marissa Street is the CEO. I believe she's the CEO of PragerU, or president, or some whatever term that they use. I want you to know that she's a dual citizen. I want you to know that she was raised and educated in Israel. She graduated from, I believe, UCLA, but she also graduated from the American Jewish University or American Jewish College. I forget whatever it's deemed. She served in their military intelligence unit, which is known as what? Unit 8200. And so ask yourself, wait a minute, what? PragerU, one of the grandfather conservative organizations inside of the United States, is headed by a dual citizen who was raised and educated in Israel, who came from and served in their military cyber warfare operation program called Unit 8200. You know, at first it's just bad enough she's a woman, but whoa, now you're telling me like she's literally basically Israeli CIA with a specific angle of committing cyber warfare. So then it begs the question, but then what makes her different than Barack Ravid or the other girl who put people on for CNN? Nothing. Actually, literally nothing, because she's serving the same exact role as these other individuals. She is waging cyber warfare on behalf of Israel against the American people. Now, how she's doing it is a bit categorically different than what Barack Ravid has been doing. Barack Ravid, whatever you want to say, Barack Ravid. But she's still committing cyber warfare in the name of Israel against America. And so I want you to know, too, understand that Microsoft, and I think it was last year in September, they revoked Israel's access to AI because they figured out that Unit 8200 was using, I forget what program it was, but they were using it to mass surveil the Palestinian people. Blood guilt. Blood guilt. That's blood guilt. She's no different. So we know what the angle is of Barack Ravid, right? The angle of Barack Ravid is to give Trump some breathing room. Is to try to kill some of those narratives that Israel really controls Donald Trump. That the Jews are telling Trump what to do with Iran. That they're the tip of the spear in the Iran war. So we kind of have an idea there. So, what's her angle? Here's the caption. Chinese CCP is accused of weaponizing anti-Semitism to divide Western society. The Chinese Communist Party has always aligned with this narrative of fighting the imperial powers, fighting the West, until they have seen the PLO, Hamas, as kind of fighting the West. Could someone send me a location to a bridge tall enough for me to jump off of? Just kidding, that's a joke. But here's this. So here you have this. And it's in the same light of Barack Ravid. No. The anti-Semitism thing, the reason why it's all you see it is because it's a Chinese cyber warfare. It's the Chinese are doing it. The Chinese are weaponizing anti-Semitism because they view Hamas as kind of like fighting the West. It's like, dude. You just it's so shameless, dude. It's so effing shameless. So take a listen into here to Unit 8200's finest, Marissa Street, talking with an Asian woman of some kind about how what's happening, the mass noticing, the anti-Semitism happening, all of this is actually really China. Dude, it's the Chi-Coms again, bro. Welcome to a bad nightmare of Steve Bannon and Jack Posobiec. But here's the video. Take a listen.
CP is propagating anti-Semitism?
Yes, and the reasons for that are severalfold. Some of it is actually quite historic. So, the CCP has always aligned with this narrative of fighting the imperial powers, fighting the West. And so they have seen the PLO, Hamas as kind of fighting the West. And it's a very, they still have that notion because think of China's goals. It is to subvert the world order and to kind of leapfrog against the United States, right? And
they're like, you know what everyone will fall for? Just every place it says Israel, replace it with China. Now all of a sudden, everyone's like, whoa, you see this? You see what China's doing over here? China's using all this anti-Semitism. You put Israel there, they go, why do you hate Jews? You bigot, you anti-Semite, you Nazi. You put China there, they go, oh my gosh, China's doing this? That's crazy. Those Chi-Coms, that red flagged party, color revolution. You put Israel back in there, they're like, whoa. Dude, never again. And honestly, I'm very uncomfortable with how anti-Semitic you're being. It's so fucking stupid. It makes you want to bash your head through a brick wall and hope that you don't come out the other side.
And Israel kind of represents a big part of that, in that part of the world.
That's a good one. House says, remember when Israel sold China the F-16? Yeah.
It's a very easy way for them to kind of paint Israel as a Western project, which, it's a European, they would say it's a European project, deny the Jews that's their ancestral home. And
Israel is most similar to the United States in that part of the world, for sure.
Right. In its values and its structure of government, right?
Israel's basically us.
Yeah.
But that's why it's
oh my gosh.
Oh, so to prove that Israel is bad is to prove that America is also bad.
Right.
No, it wouldn't. And no, we're not the same thing. We're not even close to the same thing. One is an ethno-state that is literally wholeheartedly built and designed in its purpose to carry out its religious priors. America, on the other hand, has had all of that stripped and deracinated. America is being turned into a blank slate commune being literally churned and ingratiated with every people, so every goddamn country that exists on this planet. It's being turned into it's like a massive salad, but with every ingredient in the whole planet. This ain't no melting pot. Melting pot doesn't exist. It's fake. That was pushed out by a Jew too. It never existed. Melting pot, my ass, and we all know it. You go to Chicago, there's the black side, the Italian side, the white side, the brown side, the Mexican side. You go to Columbus, it's the same damn thing. You have the Indian neighborhood, you have the white neighborhood, you have the brown neighborhood, you have the Asian neighborhood, you go down the line. Melting pot's always been fake. We have seen this, we've known this, it's always been like that. The Jewish lie. So what you actually have is a salad. So nothing mixes, but it's all there. And it's just all in a massive pile of trash. And it's just, they do this thing, right, where it's like the state of Israel is like the Western outpost in the Middle East. It's just all the same rhetoric they've had in their stupid handbooks and Hasbara for a super long time. And it's all meant to ensure their survival by attaching themselves to us, both for pro and negative gains and results too. It's despicable. And here they are. Here's Marissa Street. Unit 8200's best, from Assad, from Israel, born and raised, dual citizen. Yeah, the anti-Semitism that we're seeing is actually, it's being weaponized by China. China's doing it. Yeah, it's not organic by any means. Yeah, this is all happening because China's doing it. And you know people are going to eat this up too. You know people are going to be coming in and like, oh my gosh, yeah, China? Big bad China doing it? China. It's just sad, man. It's honestly just sad. Lovely stuff, man. Lovely. We love this from PragerU here. And so I guess moving on to another topic that was covered by Nick, and this was this kind of this split, which is, the right and the left split. Also, my window's way more open than what it usually is. There's light. Let there be light in the room. And but no, Hassan Piker, this obviously this left-right split. And if we were talking about, building coalitions or what we would be looking for in terms of like who should we side with, it needs to be only right wing. It's gonna have to be a right wing push. Can't be left wing by any stretch of the imagination. But even in terms of the right wing, we're going to be able to actually, unite with, as somebody posed earlier, putting aside differences to ensure a bigger kind of team or coalition. I think it would be nice to have, but how possible is it? How plausible is it even? I really don't know. And like I said earlier, there's many individual actors here who kind of soil it for the rest of everybody else. Whether there's very specific items they just have to correct on, or it's ego, or otherwise. I think some people just won't be able to join the party. But it's a nice thought. It's a nice thought to go, okay, maybe, perhaps we can. But we cannot unite with the left at all. And part of this is because the left is just, I mean, let's be honest, it's our lesser half, if you will. I mean, that's a start. But the left is built, their framework is, for one, a lot of it's nonsensical. But two, so much of it is based in this reality that is anti-white, that whiteness is inherently evil, that wanting to have schedules and being polite and not being on day speakerphone in the front line, that is in some way, shape, or form worse for the society than allowing it to go full send. And these just broken and honestly awful ideas. But here's Hassan, and coming from Hassan Piker himself, literally saying, it doesn't matter if they're Jewish, they're Nazis. So here this is. Maybe this takes the cake of the video for today. But here this is from Hassan Piker. Lovely stuff. There's a bunch of stuff in the caption I'm sure is good, but we're just listening to the video for now.
That these guys are saying shit like this because they're fucking the current manifestation of Adolf Hitler. Every single one of them is a little Adolf Hitler in their own way. What's shocking to me is that people still get mad at me when I say these motherfuckers are Nazis. They are. Just because they're Jewish doesn't change that dynamic. They're just fucking Nazis.
Yeah, Jewish Nazis, dude. See, everybody wants to be a Nazi, dude.
And it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. I don't want to fucking, yeah, I'm a fascist homophobe. Israel's new finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich, said. They're just fucking Nazis. Of course, it's a Nazi parade. And
because in Hassan's worldview, Nazi means nothing other than like fascist. It's removed from anything, any actual context. Nazi, it's a villain. It can mean multiple things. It can mean one thing. It can mean different things in different contexts. It can mean, oh, he's a racist. It could mean, oh, he's a tribalist. It can mean that this person is they don't like he's a homophobe. That's what Nazi means. It means not one of us. That's actually probably the best way to describe it, to how the left uses it. The left uses it to say not one of us, not one of ours. And then the extended, like the consequence of the usage of that as it gets further, which is not one of us, now green light to cancel them, green light to attack them, green light to harass them, green light to kill them. That's how it operates to them. And again, anyone who even knows what a Nazi is would knows like that's so far removed from the entire identity of where National Socialism even came from. National Socialism was a response to the ongoing warfare being waged by Judea on Germany. But again, to even say those words would honestly break the mind of many. Tabal says, yeah, it's the left's terms for meanie head. Right? Yeah, right. It just is it's a loose term, and it's a hot term. It's like you say Nazi, everybody knows what it means. And again, it's reinforced through them by the social institutions, by gaming, by everything, right? All the Hollywood movies, every Hollywood movie that's been out there that's just like, it's produced by Jews, for Jews, about Jews, and it just continues. It keeps going and going and going and going. And it is this reinforcement that the Nazis were the worst thing that ever happened, the most evil entity of all time. And then you get to the Hassan, who's supposed to be a leader on the left, and it just has no real definition. It's just anybody I don't like, anybody who is intolerant, essentially. And later on, in other uses, in most uses, it is a green light to attack this person. You're called a Nazi by Hassan. That's a green light. You're called a Nazi by the New York Post. You're called a Nazi by the Wall Street Journal. You're called a Nazi by whatever the source. That to them is the green light to go, not one of ours, get them. I don't know if Hassan says anything else. I'm sure it's not intelligent, though.
You, as a Democrat, participated in the Nazi parade. That's it, because Israel's a Nazi country. It's just objectively true. That's what this is. And people cannot fight back against this.
I don't know how Hassan has an audience.
That is born out of truthful.
I would debate Hassan. You know why? Because I don't have an ounce of my soul that feels like I would lose to Hassan Tiger.
You're an anti-Semite.
And for one, you can win many debates by simply just being correct. I wholeheartedly agree with Zeb Boykin on this. If you just are simply holding the correct position, if truth is on your side, it's hard to lose a debate. It's simple. It's that simple. And then add in this renob. What was that? IDF, if you can hear me, where was that? IDF, if you can hear me, Hassan is days away from developing a nuclear weapon. Agreed. Front page news. Breaking. CNN. Barack Ravid, if you can hear me, Axios, I have a call I can leak to you. I have it on good authority. Hassan is developing a nuclear weapon. He's actually hours away from developing a nuclear weapon. Please send all of your irradiated nuclear rounds immediately, please. Yeah, should I post it?
These guys are saying shit like this.
No, I can't do too many. If I do too many breaking ones in a row, they're gonna demonetize the account and label me parody. I have to be careful with that stuff. They've been getting gay and AIDS on X lately. They just demonetized somebody the other day for something that he did that was like, I thought was like, that's nothing at all. So I'll save him. I gotta keep him up my sleeve. Yeah, because later my last post is a straight up parody. It's like, the Groypers trade Sneeko for Asmongold from the Jews. It's like, no, that's, obviously not true. Just insanity, dude. And Hassan's just a straight up idiot. Straight up idiot. And I think what's funny is one of the biggest things that was the takeaway from Nick's show last night is everyone's like, he's going to leave the country if Democrats win. It's like, do you think he should wait for them to come pull him from his home and go throw him in prison? Do you think he should leave then? That's when he should decide to leave. It's like, if the Democrats win in 2028, they're literally going to come. They're going to come, but they're also going to make sure that every single one of us, we never see the light of day again. They will make sure the generational run and everything we've kind of made so far will be nothing. They will eliminate it. Hey, good to see you, Foul Ball. Good to see you, brother. Take care, man. I gotta catch you on a Sunday, man. I really do. And I appreciate you for being here. Nick Fuentes says he might leave the U.S. if Democrats win in 2028, and so hasn't so many other people. So hasn't, it's like, and there's even Republicans and other regular maggots who've been angrily responding and reacting to that. It's like, it's just so retarded. But here's the clip. I'll play the clip instead of just speaking for him. Here's this from Sock Clips, White Sock Clips. Shout out White Sock Clips.
Love your show and totally support AF. Sincerely wondering if you, in all seriousness, would actually leave the country and move if the Dems win in 28. Leave all of us.
Calling it down.
Hearts emoji.
None of you have suffered at all, actually. You don't know what suffering is. You just,
that got me earlier too.
Vocabulary.
That's hilarious.
You have no right to even use that word. I think I would leave on a temporary basis just to see what happens. I'm probably going to leave and then see how it goes. I mean, because if they get in and they just start ramping everything up at the DOJ, then it's a very bad sign. If they don't, then I'll probably come back shortly. But yeah, I would seriously consider it.
Global white unity. Yeah. 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 Like, it's just such a gay LARP, dude. It's such a gay LARP. Him and Rebecca and Devon Stagg, they can all literally all have each other. I care more about, I think Nick even posted about this in his Telegram. I've been talking about this. It's so weird. And it's like, so especially from Rebecca, well, I think I care more about whites around the world than I care about America. Okay, then go there. Then get out. Go do that then. Go have fun. It's not to say I don't understand the sentiment, but it's like, I'm not going to, caring about Brits dealing with what they're dealing with more so, like on a racial identitarian lens, more so than I care about the America. Are you kidding me? Like, no, I America. We're talking about America. I'm an American. We're talking about the greatest country ever, not just on earth right now, greatest country ever. Built and fought for with one of the few revolutions that actually succeeded and turned into a positive consequence, not a shithole only to be consumed and expanded upon or turned into a vassal state. This is America. This is the home of Christianity. This is the West. Like, I care more about stuff like that. I care about more about Christianity and like actual Western values. Not this just they're white and black people were mean to them or they're being oppressed. It's obviously more than that too, but I don't understand it. This white globalism stuff. Like, they can all have each other. Not to say I don't get the sentiment. I do. Like, I feel bad when I see people like Joel Davis or Thomas Sewell or something else happen. They're getting hung by their toes in Australia, but like, they got to deal with their own problems. Like, that's their country. I don't care about Australia. I don't care about the UK. I really don't. I mean, I feel for the people, but as a nation, no, I don't care. But that was that clip there from Nick as well. And let's see, we have a couple more. There was one more I wanted to play for sure on this side of the stream before we switch over to Kick. And this is, let me switch these here actually. I want to make sure I move them so I don't do anything twice. We have Ben Shapiro gaslighting everybody. I'm sure everybody wants to hear this, but there's a 2-minute clip here of Ben Shapiro gaslighting everybody on Hassan Piker. And the gaslighting, as it says, next level. Chris Monahan says that Ben Shapiro claims that, quote, there's no evidence Hassan Piker and Cenk Uygur were banned from the UK for their criticism of Israel, and insists there's no difference between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism. Love that. Forgive me. He says you're calling for the destruction of the Jewish state, which would entail the murder of millions of Jews. Here we go.
Uygur, very online personalities, left-wing streamers who are beloved by a lot of the mainstream media in the United States, both supporters of various terrorist groups and foreign governments. It was a big story over the course of the last few days.
I don't know what you're referring to, Junior.
Had denied entry to them. Again, according to the New York Times, the British Home Office said in an emailed statement, the authorizations for the 2 American commentators had been canceled because their presence in Britain, quote, may not be conducive to the public good. The Home Office said a decision to deny entry for that reason was based solely on an assessment of the potential risk an individual might pose to British society. The statement said nothing, for example, about their criticism of Israel.
I'm kind of curious. Does he say?
To this point,
what's the reason?
This is about. The UK Times, the Sunday Times, Times of London, rather, reported that it did have to do with their anti-Semitic views. Quote, the decision to block Uygur from traveling to the UK is understood to have been based on several grounds, including fears that his presence would risk exacerbating anti-Semitism due to his rhetoric since the October 7th attacks in 2023.
Bro.
This included repeating classic anti-Semitic tropes, such as the claim that Israel controls America.
So he's straight up reading from like a paper from the UK. It's like, well, they feared, the reason why they were banned was they feared that they would exacerbate anti-Semitic elements. I mean, he's about to say, no. Put on 2 times speed. All right, dude, get ready. It's Ben Shapiro.
So, again, this reporting is the basis for why Cenk and Piker are claiming that they are being banned for their feelings on Israel. Piker himself is suggesting that he is not anti-Semitic. Right? He's just anti-Zionist. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a distinction without any practical difference. If you're calling for the destruction of the Jewish state, which exists in the here and now, you're not having a prospective conversation in 1920 about whether there ought to be a Jewish state in the Middle East or not. It exists. It's been existing for 80 years. You're not calling for the destruction of Pakistan, a Muslim-only state. You're not calling for the destruction of any of the dozens of other states around the world. You're only calling for the destruction of the Jewish state, which would entail the murder of millions of Jews.
It's crazy. 2 minutes and nothing was said besides Hezbollah. That's crazy, man. That's crazy, Ben. Ben, what are we doing? Ben, what are we doing? I don't even understand how people even buy this. How is anyone still eating it, the slop that's coming out of the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro? It's so unbelievable. It's so egregious. So just pathetic. Man. But that's us hitting the 2-hour mark here on YouTube. We are going to be finishing the rest of the stream on Kick, and I'm going to go ahead and sign off as I usually do. And appreciate everybody for being here as always. And of those who have not followed me on Kick, make sure you do so. It should be in the description below. If not, it is just kick.com/AtlasThugged, ATLASTHUGGED. And I'm going to be moving over there. It should only take me a couple minutes to switch over. Kenny Rice says, so what is Ben thing that got banned? I guess he doesn't need to give a reason. He's just telling you it's not because of Israel. Just go along with it. Just trust the plan. Just choke down your Hezbollah without complaint, sir. Are you questioning a Jew? How anti-Semitic of you. So that's that. This is actually a really great episode of Defensively Accurate today. I appreciate everybody who was here. I think we peaked out. We got close to getting to 100 again. Looks like YouTube is taking their boot off of my neck, which is appreciated. Thank you. Maybe if I start yelling and complaining like Raymond, Thoughts and Minds, perhaps I will get somewhere. Maybe if I shout into the ether enough, that will work.
Anthony22 just followed on Kick.
But thank you for the follow, and we'll go ahead and start wrapping it down. It'll take me probably just a couple minutes to switch it over to Kick, like 2 minutes, if that. But thanks everybody for being here. As always, I'm rooting for you guys. And again, Christ is King, as always. That is the most important thing above all. So make sure you guys, and I mean this wholeheartedly, make sure you guys are taking your walk with Jesus Christ seriously. Make sure you are taking your understanding of Christianity seriously. Make sure that you are taking your own attempt at walking the walk seriously. And again, I think there's a lot more to that than obviously just pushing for it online. And And since we can't get any deportations, we're going to have to settle for impeachments. So impeach the entire administration, impeach Donald Trump, put them all in prison, send them to Israel for all I care. I don't. And man, God willing, we'll get some kind of Hitlerian candidate in 2028. At the bare minimum, we'll get somebody that's not Vance, not Rubio, just anybody that's not a part of this administration, somebody that's not attached at the hip to Miriam Adelson and Paul Singer to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars for pro-Israel money. And to the woman, anyone over 150 pounds, you're going to get shot from a cannon to Israel, no questions asked. And for all women between 100 and 150 pounds, this is your 90-day notice to lose the weight, or you too will be shot from a cannon to Israel. All right, guys, I'll see you in a couple minutes over on Kick. Thanks for being here. I'll see you there.
Get up and get out. Get out. Get out.
I have a question for you.
Say Christ is Lord. Say Christ is Lord. Say it. You say Christ is Lord. Get out. Get out. Christ